Hello and welcome to the Outcast. I'm your host HC, and with me is.
Wolf.
And today we have a guest who is very special to me personally. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Steph. I'm like I do comics, but I'm also HC's girlfriend. Hooray!
N- No bragging about that whatsoever.
Uh,
But
but no, but I'm brought here because I also read the manga in question of the
yeah,
anime.
kind of jumping ahead into this today's topic. Today we're talking about the anime and manga, Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. And Steph, how do you say it in Japanese?
Gekan Shoujo Nozaki-kun.
Say that 5 times fast. Audience,
Gekan Shoujo
not Steph.
Nozaki-kun.
Good luck to whoever is attempting this. So, an historic moment, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first time, while in the 6 years we've been doing this podcast, I recommended an anime to Wolf.
You did. Is it the first?
Yeah,
So,
It might be the first. I
I'm
don't.
I
curious what's like the impression from Wolf.
looking back, like I think when it comes to anime, you are the one who brings up the ideas first. I think this is the first one. I'm like, listen, I think we can talk about this.
I want to say there was another one, but you might be right. That might be the first.
Again, an historic moment. So I guess Wolf, your introduction to this show was like, "Hey, I have an idea of something we can cover in the podcast," and you watched it.
To be fair, that's my introduction to a few shows that we've covered on the podcast, although not
No,
always
but
from you.
in this specific instance.
Yes.
So, Steph, how were you introduced into Nozaki-kun? Like, how were you exposed to it?
So okay, I used to work in animation. But that's not important. But like there was like one afternoon, like one of my coworkers said, "You need to check out this romance anime." And as a woman, you're kind of as a woman, you're kind of used to like romance media. You understand the cliches. I've read romance manga, I've read romance novel, I've read romantic movies, and I'm like, oh come on, I can't deal with like this stupid. Is this going to be like like would like the whole like would they, I don't know, and then it's gonna be
Will
like
they?
there.
Won't they?
Yes, thank you. And then there's going to be like this whole misunderstanding of like something really stupid, like, oh, the guy fell in like this girl, another girl's like accidentally fell into another girl while saving her from falling down. Oh my god, he touched her boob accidentally. Oh no, what will the relationship survive? And um, I mean, here's the thing. The coworker that recommended it to me is a man, and I'm like, oh God, is this gonna be like that kind of anime romance? But it's not. It's surprisingly not. It managed to make me laugh for like, was it 12 or 14 episode? I can't remember.
12.
It's 12.
Okay. But it managed to make
Okay,
me laugh for
so
like 12 episodes straight, and yeah.
my experience was, those moments when your girlfriend tells you, "Hey, we need to watch this show," and you kind of watch it because you want to make her happy.
I
Not the
mean,
case here because I really enjoyed it. It was
although
just
you did say like towards the end it gets kind of tiring because it has its
well,
own
we'll
cliches.
get there. We'll get there.
Anyway,
Not quite there yet. But the thing is that so Steph kind of asked me, "Hey, how are you with high school shows?" And I'm like, "Well, if you know me, you know that high school shows and movies are kind of like my niche genre. Like it's that one genre that even if it's terrible, can still find most of the time something to enjoy about it." And I'm like,
mm,
up, I'm up for this. Let's see what this is about. And I was pleasantly surprised. And now we're here, and kind of jumping into non-spoilery thoughts yet. I think this is a really great show. It's a funny show. I'm definitely recommending it. However, do not binge this because at some point the insanity of the show can also get a bit gritty near the end if you are marathoning this.
I think that's the reason why I really enjoyed the manga, because the author updates only once a month, so it's kind of like it's a nice present when you're,
Mhm.
when you come home from work,
So,
school, and you're like, oh, there's like this 12 pages, and she produces 12 pages a month, which is like, okay, cool. We'll talk about
so
that later.
yeah. So, Wolf, what are your quick non-spoilery thoughts about the show?
Quick non-spoilery thoughts. You recommended this to me as a romance. This is, to be clear, a romance comedy and a parody of a lot of romance tropes. So, I came into this expecting something much different than what I got, but overall, I enjoyed it.
Did I?
Yeah, you
I
said
don't-
romance. You never said romance comedy. You just said romance.
Maybe I was trolling you.
Maybe, I don't know, but you said romance. I remember that much very clearly because I came into this expecting something much different. And to be clear, I'm not a big romance fan. I grew up with it because my mom watched a lot of that stuff and I watched a lot of it with her. So I've generally tended to stay away from a lot of romance anime. Not because they're bad, just because it's generally not my thing. Bloom Into You was a very much a ton of friends recommended it and it's like, fine, I'll give it a shot. And like, oh wow, this was really good. So, and
It is
oh, go ahead.
wasn't it like the anime of the season, like at the time that you
I
guys were reviewing it?
When we were reviewing it much after, like much later than when it came out originally. But I think when it originally came out, I think it was very popular. I don't know for certain. I'd have to look into it a bit more, but it was definitely like well liked and well received from my understanding when it first came out.
That yeah, and also speaking of Bloom Into You, I gotta say again, I'm not much like Steph. This is where you come in. I'm not. I heard from you that the manga is still going.
Nozaki or Bloom Into You? Just to be
Nozaki.
clear. Yes, yes, it is still going, and I think the English translation is like behind like 4 to 5 chapters. I also
Mhm.
buy the translated version, the official version, but I also follow the pirated stuff.
Mhm.
But the other thing is like the translator for the Indonesian edition for Nozaki is actually my friend, and she really does a good job. So I will make a point to actually buy the actual
Fair enough.
thing because I want to support her work.
Fair enough. Um, but the reason I'm asking is because unlike Bloom Into You, where we know that we knew there was an ending to the manga, and the show, but the show kind of ended differently, and it feels like they kind of cut some stuff because no second season. Here it's like even a bit more. The at least the anime adaptation of Nozaki-kun feels a bit more complete, even if the manga is not finished, in a sense.
Yeah, that's the thing about the manga. It's like it has progress, but it's like everybody wants a season 2, but nobody want. Well, they don't want to make it, but we can't really do anything about
Welcome to anime. Everyone would love to see a season 2 and no one's gonna do it.
And
that.
yeah, I think this too, like this anime aired like in 2014. Oh boy, so yes.
Um, just to give you a perspective, the manga started publishing in 2011.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So even getting it animated took a little while. Um, but I mean, I think that's the norm because like, have you guys heard of the anime Spy Family?
Yes.
Well, I heard of it because you showed me it. So
Yeah,
yes.
I okay. I also read the manga. But I read it through the official app on the Shonen Jump app. It started around 2017, 2018. So and the animation only came out 2022. So like that kind of gap is kind of normal-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fair enough. So anyway, so I guess we're all kind of in the sense of we enjoyed this show. We can all say we liked it.
Yeah, I had fun with it. More fun than what I thought I would. Again, like, to be clear, like, I'm not a big romance fan, so I think me saying like, "Hey, I had fun with a romantic comedy," is quite, big, because I know a lot of those tropes as well. I've seen them a lot because, again, I've watched a lot of romance stuff in the past with my mom, so like I'm very much like used to all of it. So this still got me to laugh quite a few times. It was still funny. I still enjoyed my time with it. So yeah, I would recommend it.
And unlike some other romantic stuff, it's intentionally funny.
Yeah, the thing with romance is the fact is like uh I don't want to say I love the romance genre, but I do have like a love-hate relationship for it, because you're like, you think this one's gonna be good, but it either goes two ways. Like it either like becomes this, there's like two types of cliche, with like the woman's cliche and the man's cliche. If a man's writing romance, the cliche is gonna be like, oh, he accidentally touched some woman's boob. Oh no. Is
In
the
anime,
relation
I should stress, if it's in anything other than anime, this is not gonna pass. But I
Yeah,
get you.
and then with the woman, suddenly there's like misunderstanding, like, oh no, he didn't tell you his very tragic past after 6 weeks of dating. Is he lying to you, or something like it's like you
Or as
expect
Wolf,
to.
calls these characters, and he's completely right. Completely right. Edgy emo.
What?
Edgy emo.
What's that?
An emo guy who's edgy. Because tragic backstory and everything.
No, yeah, yes, but also kind of like, what do you call that? You know what? I'll just fully admit, like, I do watch romance that is written by women, but not that often, because it, this is kind of weird for me to say this as a woman, but it's like
Hey,
there's
fair.
issues. It, it, uh, anyway.
What? It's okay. You can take your time. All good.
Hmm. All right.
But overall, I guess we both kind of enjoyed. I personally like that. While this is a romantic comedy, it's also like the romance in itself is kind of treated as a comedy, and in a sense, it kind of makes it better that the show kind of knows that people are probably sick of the cliches and stuff, so they kind of try to do new spins with it for the sake of making you laugh more than getting you invested in if these two are gonna end up together or not. And I think it's welcome.
Sorry, I actually would really appreciate that the boys in this romance comedy also has feelings, because usually it's only emphasized that the woman is the only one who has feelings.
Mhm.
Mm. Well, besides Nozaki has no emotions, and we love him for it.
I
But
think he's
yes,
just dumb, but okay.
Yeah, he's just
and
dumb.
I guess yes,
To be
he's
fair, they're
dumb.
all dumb, but he is the dumbest. He is King Dumb.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Wait, we're still in the no spoiler section. Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, still, like, if I guess just as good as time as any to say, if you want to watch this show and you haven't yet, this is your chance to close the podcast, because we're gonna start talking about spoilers. So
It's
this
not
is
going
your
to be
last
like
chance.
Christopher Nolan. Oh, that's the plot twist. I wasn't expecting that from happening, but it's
Mm. If
your
this if
mileage.
this was if this was Christopher Nolan, we would be here forever because his movies are a bit overly long. Uh, yes. Anyway, spoilers start in 3, 2, 1. You still hear good. Nozaki kills everyone.
I mean,
All
that's
right,
not
so
far
where
fetched
do you
from
want
this
to start?
show.
Okay,
That's
where do you
exactly
want
why I said that. It sounds logical enough, but it's not.
Okay, I have spoilers from the manga too, so if you
Okay,
guys wanna like, if you guys wanna
this
like
is
catch up with the
something.
manga, do so before I say anything else.
So
You can
actually,
okay, just a moment, just a
one
moment.
thing I do want to ask about the manga, because we're not gonna go episode by episode here. We'll probably just
No, no,
jump
I'm not.
around
But like,
characters.
can I
Mm,
just say something? Like,
yeah.
if you guys are like not from Japan or not from like any Asian countries that actually translate this stuff, there is a website called Bookwalker. We're not sponsored by it, um, but they do like an official English translation if you want to buy it officially.
Mm.
Um, I've bought the official English version. They're very funny, but they're not as funny as the Indonesian translation because the translator who worked for the Indonesian edition is a fucking genius. I'm sorry I swore, but anyway.
We swear all the time here. It's okay.
But yeah, if you guys want to like pick up the official version, if not, you can also pick up the pirated version at your most reliable pirated manga site. I don't know where.
For the
Yar.
record, we do not encourage this, but sometimes when these companies don't acknowledge some countries exist, there's no choice.
Oh,
But
right, yes. Oh,
mm,
the sorry, I keep interrupting. But also, you if you can speak Japanese, you can go to the website for Shonen Gangan because Nozaki is actually an online manga that they actually like publish online before um they gather it up in like one volume and then they publish it on paper. So, you also have the legal way of viewing it online. So, but
uh, cool. So we are not gonna necessarily do episode by episode. We'll probably just jump from plot point to plot point, characters to characters. But the show basically starts with, so we have Sakura, basically the main character,
mm-mm.
admitting to Nozaki that she's crushing on him. He interprets it as she's his fan, and only when he takes her home, she finds out that he is actually, published in a manga magazine, and she decides to help him out with stories. So this is a question for you, Steph. How much does it? How much do the anime and the manga differ from each other here, or if it's actually the same?
It's very faithful. It's like 1 to 1, actually.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Maybe like the only difference is like the manga artist because Nozaki didn't start off as like her only manga because she was doing another manga and she was doing Nozaki just for shits and giggles, I believe. And so she's just drawing it like how do I put this? It's polished, but it's not as polished as her main manga that she was doing at
Yeah.
the time.
So it's you can basically say it's like a like a side project that she puts less time into.
Yes, yes.
At least for a while, yeah. Her Izumi
Yeah, yeah,
Tsubaki is the mangaka behind Nozaki-kun. Before that, she was
correct.
doing. You might know her more for those who might know the name. You might know her more from Orisama Teacher. That was her main thing for up until 2020. Actually, is when that ended.
Yeah.
Interesting to know.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, I think like these two characters have a good start with each other, and honestly, I find it interesting that again, there's kind of like who will they, won't they to this, but but I also like the angle that she actually finds something about him that she didn't know, and that something is actually something that's kind of unusual, because how many high school students, publish manga officially, unless I'm behind the times or something. Mm.
Many.
But
That's how many.
Well,
if
I
you
mean,
say
I
so.
have to say, like, Nozaki must have like some amazing, what do you call that, time management skills because
Yeah.
uh,
Yes, he does. Actually, you know something? I think in my head canon is just doesn't do any kind of homework, and they just keep him at the school because he's a name.
Oh, it's actually kind of funny that you mentioned that because like at first the dad was because he has his own apartment like because
Hmm.
he can afford his own apartment, right? But at first
Yes.
in the manga, because you actually see his dad like forbidding him, like, you can't be a manga artist. You're just a high school student. Do you even have the money? And he just like shows him the bank statement for the last 3 months and how much he saved for an apartment down payment for like a rental stuff and like it's like and then the dad was like, oh, you can't do like you can't live outside the family house because you can't what do you call that? Do housekeeping. Like you can't tidy after yourself, whatever. And then he proceeds to cook everybody like an amazing meal and like cleans up everything after. Kind of
Well,
funny.
he may be dumb, but he sure is ambitious. But yeah, so this is another thing. I don't recall seeing his dad in the anime,
Yeah.
but
Oh, there was one. There was one in like 1 second clip in the last what he was
well,
there.
yeah, 1 second clip. I don't necessarily remember the 1 second clip of
I
his father.
and even then I only found out when I was watching with you because that was like my fifth
Oh,
or sixth time watching Nozaki.
so it's also like you need 5 or 6 times to even recall he was there. So yeah, like
Yeah.
I now I wonder if they even drew him the same, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
another
yeah, they
story.
did, they did, they did, they did.
Okay, because imagine if it was just like, oh, father is their father, and you know what? I'll just make up a character. It's
It's
gonna only
basically
gonna be a
Nozaki
second.
but with a mustache.
Oh, oh, why now I remember? Yes, I know what you're talking about. Oh my god, I remember this now. Oh, oh my god, the Nozaki with a mustache. That I remember this. I remember that. Okay. Anyway, so like with Nozaki is a manga artist, and he's basically having Sakura around to help him come up with plot ideas and
Okay.
so we could get like a girl's perspective.
But
Really, this
also
isn't
like
a romantic
finishing like
comedy.
the inking work, like the inking work. Sakura is very like clean and neat with her like line work.
Hmm. And
So yeah,
like I said, I kind of like it that, like Wolf said, this is not your traditional
Well,
romantic comedy setup.
I
Like
was gonna
it's
make I was gonna make a joke in this isn't an anime about a romantic comedy. This is an anime about a guy who's just really good at reading people and just gets them to do work for him for free, essentially.
pays them with like delicious homemade meal every
but
day.
hey,
Okay, fair.
that's
No, that's
just a
fair.
theory.
That's fair. Getting free food is nice. I will admit, especially if it's home cooked and really good. I will admit, very worth it.
And especially if
I
Stephanie
don't
said
remember
Stephanie
if
was
it was
cooking.
in the anime, but like there was like a time where Nozaki's just like he doesn't really want to do the comic work, and all he does is like he starts cooking like a 5 course meal for everyone, and everyone's like, no, 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 get back to work.
Yeah, that actually, I think my favorite character in the entire thing is Nozaki's editor. Like just
Ah,
this,
Kinta.
yeah,
He's so done with everything.
yeah, just that I don't give a shit about everything, and like Nozaki is just like trying his best to get his approval, and he's just like, dude, just just write from life, just write. You don't have to overthink everything, and like every time he gets a new draft, it's just like, I love this guy. This guy is the best.
Do I have a favorite character? It changes every time I watch. What about you, Wolf?
Oh, I mean, I liked Sakura a lot, but I kind of might give it to Seo. I just loved the over the topness there.
I mean, that's a good pick.
Like
That's
I instantly enjoyed every scene that she was in because it was so over the top, especially when they started involving Wakamatsu.
Wakamatsu.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
I
really,
yeah.
that's the only romance I think you get in this romance anime is her and Wakamatsu, and even that one's like just silly and over the top, and just again, like, that's what makes this show so lovely, is that everything is silly and over the top, and all of these people are very oblivious and very dumb all at the same time. And
Oh,
very weird, like
do
people.
you guys mind if I spoil the manga a little bit?
We are in the spoiler section, so go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So like Seo finally came clean to Wakamatsu that he is Lorelai,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and it took like about 10 chapters for him to actually believe that. Like Wakamatsu just thinks that she's trying to like psych him up because she trolls him so much that he doesn't believe her anymore.
I mean,
I can see it.
that sounds
Yeah.
about right. Yeah, that does sound right. Speaking of favorite things, I think one of my top moments from this show is when Nozaki has a day off. So Sakura takes
Oh
him to the
yes,
mall,
yes, 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 yes,
attempting to have a regular date,
yes.
and only does, like, they go to see a movie, so he overthinks all the plot and how we can incorporate in the manga. And then when they go into the clothing
Restaurant,
shop,
cafe,
he
store.
actually puts on a girl outfit to try and get in character, and then invites Sakura home so she could model it. Just, do I need to say more? Do I need to say more? It's
Remember
amazing.
they went to like the cafe and then they're not even eating the food. He's just taking pictures of the food because he's like, oh, this will be a nice reference for the date night
Well,
for
to be
between
honest,
my
who doesn't take
characters.
pictures of the food in restaurants now? Like, we
No,
all
but
do
like
that.
for reference,
Yeah,
dude.
that's true. Again, I get that it's for reference, but at the same time, I think I'm just too used to taking pictures of the food we get these
Fair
days.
enough. Fair enough.
That at this point, it's not. This is not the over the top thing. It's just, yeah, people do that.
Uh, I think my favorite moment is when Seo and Wakamatsu is having a date, and so my second
Uh,
favorite moment is like when it rained, and the chaos that happened after it rained.
mhm. Yes, the chaos is definitely a word I would describe to. I would use to describe what's going on.
Yeah.
Actually, it remind me of the names, but, like, what's the name of the student that the coach always beats up?
Uh,
You're talking about
the
the
tall girl who
yeah,
looks
the drama
boyish?
club.
Yeah,
That's Mikoshiba.
yeah,
No,
Mikushida. So,
the
like,
Kashima. Mikoshiba is the red-haired
Oh
guy
yeah,
who
no,
ended
I'm
up
looking at the wrong
oh
one.
yeah,
I
beating
no, no,
her.
no, yeah,
apologize.
he's the
Yeah,
one.
it's Kashima.
He's the one. Yeah,
You're right.
Mikushiba is the one that helps them draw the flowers really
Yes.
neatly.
Yeah, yeah. I love that sort of what do you call that?
Oh, by the way, I love that they're playing a dating sim together to try and get it.
I loved that moment. I think that might be my favorite one, is where they fall in love with like the character who's only there to give them like the info to help beat the game and win the game and all that
That's
stuff.
a fair point, but it's like, why is this guy helping the main character so much?
I love how they fell in love with him, and it's like, we gotta write his story now. We have to, and just I thought that was great. I loved that so much. I thought it was so funny and just so on point.
It's
Mm.
so odd that apparently it's a PS3 game for no reason whatsoever. Uh, but yeah, but, like, listen, the coach and that, like, the girl in the drama club, I don't know I don't know who maybe it's the creator of the manga, maybe it's someone on the show's writing staff, but I don't know who in the hell decided that this guy needs to beat her up and legit send her flying to the sky every episode, and the school doesn't kick the guy out.
That you mentioned that because like I mentioned, well, I mean, like I said, Nozaki is published in Indonesia. Uh,
Yeah.
um, so the pairing that's actually really Killers between Kashima and I forgot his name.
Do you mean the
Amazing.
Hori, the drama club president?
Yes, Mori Senpai.
Yeah.
Yes. It's actually like
Mhm.
the number one pairing for like if you read Nozaki in Indonesia, like there's a poll like which is your favorite couple, Hori and Kashima is like the number one.
Okay.
Don't read too much into it, okay? Don't read too much into it.
I am I'm trying not to, but at the same time, why?
I mean, I can kind of understand why, I think, because again, it's barring like Seo and Wakamatsu, they probably show the most interest in one
Chemistry,
another.
promise.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting in the sense that everything she does, he just sends her, he just makes her
Well, no,
go Team Rocket is busting off
but
again.
they do have scenes. Well, I mean, it's also right. I think like you can see a lot of the male characters take over some personality traits you'll see from female characters and a lot of other, not
Yes, that's
necessarily
the thing I love
romance
so much about
shows, but
the
Yeah,
like
well,
shows that have romance in it. Like Hori is definitely like that kind of tsundere slash yandere a little bit.
Oh, I was
mhm.
going to say like the overworked housewife trope.
That one too. Like
So yeah,
you can see a lot from the character, and like again, like they do have those small moments of like, oh, he actually does like her, oh, she actually does like him. You can see that more with their relationship. The other characters you don't see that as much with, so I can understand why people kind of gravitate to that one a bit more. But I do
Yeah.
get where you're coming from, no, HC.
no,
No,
like
I
I
understand where
get it
is
too.
coming from.
And that's actually something I want to ask you, Steph. What is the stance in the manga currently?
Oh, right now, Hori and Kashima already know that they like each other, and basically, like, Hori's just kind of like emotionally blackmailing her, so she actually goes to the drama club rehearsal.
Does he
I
still
thought
beat her
you
up?
liked me. What?
Does he still beat her up?
No, but he ties her up. I don't know if that's better.
All
They're
I'm
they're
gonna say is all I'm gonna say is that I don't kink shame. That's all I'm gonna say about the matter.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You read into it as you want.
Um, all right. My favorite couple is actually Sakura and Nozaki,
Well,
even
of
though it's so
course.
dumb.
You know something? Maybe it's a good time to just ask something about the ending because it's only in the very final scene where Sakura actually tells Nozaki that she loves him. And
Oh,
he says that he loves the fireworks too.
yeah, because in his defense, he thought he might have missed like her saying that she liked the thing, the fireworks,
Hmm.
but he is
Yeah,
still
I
very
get
good.
that he thinks that that's what she meant, but then she's also like, hey, you know what? I'll roll with it as long as I'm just near him. And it's like, what? I don't know. It's like it's funny, but it's also like there's at some point there's just something frustrating with how a dumber this guy can be.
DM you and Wolf something from the manga, like from the official manga that I in English. Don't worry about it. That I'm just
Mhm.
gonna like that is about Kashima. Well, about sorry, I got distracted by like reading the official manga. Well, anyway, so what was the question again?
And I was just talking about like at some point you would think he will catch on to the fact, right? At some point, you would figure out, Nozaki would be like, you know what? I hang out with this girl a lot. She's doing a lot for me. Maybe.
No, if I was Sakura, I'd be like, well, I guess he doesn't like me back, so I'll just like move on, like with life,
Or
maybe
maybe, you
like
know, maybe honestly, actually, let's ask a question on the spot. Who do you think Nozaki is more into? Sakura or that guy from the dating sim?
At I mean, judging just off the anime, the guy from the dating sim.
There you go.
No, but in the
There
manga,
you
he started asking Kashima as like, I think I might like Sakura, but then Kashima's just like, I think you might. It that might have been parental feeling towards Sakura, and I'm like, I want
the
to kill someone. Not really, but
yeah, I know. A completely valid form of expression, considering I kind of feel the same thing. Oh
I'm
my
going
God,
to
this.
screen cap that particular. I'm gonna screen cap that particular moment because basically, like, there was a school trip in the manga, and they went to Kyoto, which is the historic capital. I could go on and
Mhm.
on, but that's beside the point. Basically, Sakura got lost. And Nozaki's like, wait, why is she separated from our group? Because like usually in these like tour groups, you go in like groups and like whatever, and you're supposed to go with your friends, right? And then like Sakura, where are you? And then he started like missing her and like, oh no, where's Sakura? I need to find her, blah blah. And then afterwards, like he told Kashima like, I think I might like Sakura, and then Kashima's like, no, no, that's just a fatherly feeling. I'm like,
Mhm.
uh,
Excuse me if you hear background noises. People don't know how to shut up their radios outside. But so kind of a question to Wolf.
Mhm.
If you were to choose, like if you were to choose between leaving the anime as is or getting a second season, which one do you choose?
For Nozaki-kun,
Yes.
hmm. I think I'd be interested in seeing a second season. I think, unlike Bloom Into You, right, where I feel like it needs a second season, this one, you don't need it per se. Like, you can, I feel, see the first season of this and walk away from it happy and fulfilled, right? Yeah, you don't get
Mhm.
necessarily the answer to the big question of, do they ever figure it out? But I don't think you need an answer from this one. It ends in such a way of, yeah, you can tell they'll eventually figure it out. It's going to take a long time, and all of these complete goofballs will probably fail at figuring it
or
out for a while, but they'll figure it out
yeah.
eventually. Eventually.
Mhm. Yeah,
So yeah, like
by the
I can walk away
way,
from this one happy. I don't need it, but I would like it.
mhm. By the way, Steph, I did get your screen caps, and the same question kind of applies to you. Is there anything from the manga that wasn't in the anime which you think make interesting episodes?
I would like them to animate. Well, I mean, they actually animated the beach episode, but we didn't get to see it because I got sick and hospitalized. Anyway,
Well,
um, anyway, but like the one that I would like to see is the one where Sakura got lost in Kyoto, and then
hmm,
Nozaki's just like, "No, Sakura, where are you?" Because also that whole trip in it, like they have this trip in Kyoto. It's just like it's so dumb because apart from Sakura getting lost, there's just a bunch of dumb things that's happening with the gang, and it's just so dumb and it's so funny, and I want that on screen.
hmm. I guess like kind of like to the two other people. I if they make a second season, I'd be down. I'd be interested. But I'm also kind of content with happy and content with what we got. Like it was fun, 12 episodes. I had my fair share of laughs. I enjoyed the journey. I think this is a good point to kind of figure out maybe they'll get it in the future, and also, but also think maybe one day Sakura will actually realize Zaki is not all the mental pain that he's putting her through, and she'll move on to
Right.
one can
Yes.
one can hope for the sake of a fictional character. So, but I'd be interested in seeing more if they ever decide to do more, though it's been a while, so I doubt it. Like, the show is 8 years old. I doubt that a second season will suddenly come, but it's fun to wonder.
Hmm. I mean, there's
Anything?
development, but like even with the developments, I'm still kind of frustrated because they're still very dumb.
Hmm. I mean, that's kind of the fun, though. That everyone in the show is kind of dumb in their own way. Nozaki especially, but
I mean, speaking to the fact that this is a parody and a romantic comedy, right? And I know you two have experience with at least Bloom Into You. I'd be curious to ask and hear your opinions on
Mhm.
which type of like romance story did you prefer? Like, does Bloom Into You appeal to you more, or does this being more romantic comedy, does that appeal to you more?
I guess in terms of to me, it's kind of weird to compare because it's kind of comparing apples to oranges. Both
Fair,
of them are
fair.
trying to do different things, but
Hmm.
I'll say that with Blooming to You, if it's one of those shows that I think is just like so shy away from greatness. Like it's good, even
Hmm.
really good, but like there are moments here and there, or like stuff where I'm like, it maybe a bit more editing, maybe one more rewrite, maybe something I could have actually elevated it to do this better. Nozaki-kun, I think the main point of it is to get you to laugh. It wants you to have fun. It wants you to laugh.
Hmm.
And in that sense, it achieves what it sets out to do a lot better. But at the same time, I guess I'm more interested in the idea of Bloom Into You, but I'm more enjoying Nozaki-kun executing what it wants to be.
That's fair.
Uh,
And also keep in mind that I need to be in two completely different mindsets in order to watch one over the other. So
Hmm.
because of that. But like in terms of what they were set out to do, I think Nozaki-kun does the romantic comedy a bit better. But again, it also depends on a lot of things. Steph, what do you say?
I I think like I appreciate that nowadays when it comes to romance anime and romance manga, they're a lot less, how do you say? Like there's a lot of cliched romance anime. When like
Would
I
sounded very frustrated and all of
I mean,
that.
yeah, just like
yeah.
this. Here's the thing, right? Like I want you're both millennials, right?
Hmm.
Well, I know HC is, but basically, like the millennial manga writers, they're like, we're tired of the cliche, so they're a lot more like, let's get to the point. Let's not do the stupid. Oh no, he touched her boob by accident. There's less of that. I appreciate that, but I still prefer the comedy from Nozaki because especially the girls in Nozaki are kind of stupid in a way that's like more typical of like a male character being stupid.
Mm, I agree.
Now, though, it does bring up the question: what would Nozaki think about Blooming to You?
God. Uh, I haven't read enough, but I mean like I read like the
Or better
other.
yet, how would Blooming to You be if Nozaki was the one who wrote it?
Oh God. Oh God. He'll put like all sorts of cliche and it'll be so frustrating and it's like, oh, he could
Well,
we could accept the first chapter could become like five chapter if Miyazaki wrote it.
to be fair, Nozaki probably wouldn't write Bloom Into You because Bloom Into You is technically a Yuri manga, not a shoujo manga, so he wouldn't write it.
Okay, if you want to get technical, yes,
Technically.
but
Technically.
yeah. Actually, this is a different kind. Now that we talk about this, I wonder what would like a shonen manga would be if Nozaki wrote it.
Oh.
Doing one, didn't he?
Well,
In
no,
in the anime?
yeah, he's doing shoujo, not shonen. I think you
No,
said
yeah, I know, but he was like, I'm bored of doing shoujo manga. I want to do something else at one point in the
that
anime.
is right. Yeah, he
Oh,
does.
yeah, right. But like it was like a kind of a one-time gag. I wonder like an actual full story, like give it like a something like Dragon Ball or Naruto. That's
No,
like
he can't.
long
Remember,
lasting.
he said he can't draw backgrounds. That's the reason why he's drawing shoujo manga.
Let's assume they give him a team. Again, just
No, but he has a
go
team.
nuts with the
He has
idea.
a
Let's have
team.
fun. Don't look at the
Okay, okay,
technicalities.
okay. I think he will write the shittiest shonen manga, but sure.
Yeah,
I
good.
don't
No,
think it's
actually, no. I think actually, something. What if Nozaki wrote a shonen manga? It actually exists. It's called Kingdom Hearts.
no,
So next
uh,
time and on the next podcast, we'll be canceling HC and firing him, just to let you all know.
It's my podcast.
um,
You can't fire me. And also, Steph won't turn on me. She knows
I
I'm right.
You're welcome to turn on him.
uh,
No one will hate you.
okay,
Gee,
that is
thanks.
a take. Like that is a take. Certainly, I don't think he'd write Kingdom Hearts because he's not that smart. That's my take.
That's why I am saying this. Neither is Nomura because
Okay, look, like it takes a special kind of stupid to be that complicated, and Nozaki's not stupid enough to be that complicated.
fun.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment and who it's to, or if that's an insult and who it's to. But fair either way.
Yeah, fair either way. Because when I think about it, all like Nozaki is like if he needs to like write a character, like the shonen protagonist, the one that doesn't
Oh
give
my
up and
God!
just throws just as
Now you actually make
but
me consider like what kind of shonen manga that Nozaki would write, and I would say it's Kochikame, but it's like it's a very formulaic old school shonen manga about this police precinct in Tokyo.
Mhm.
Because it's like it's simple, it's cliched, the same thing happens again and again, kind of like a shoujo manga. And
So there's a status
it's
quo.
still popular. Do you know that Kochikame is still in Shonen Jump up until
Really?
I yeah, I don't think they finished Kochikame. It's still going on.
Hmm. Interesting to know. Well, anyway, anything else to say about Nozaki-kun?
Yeah,
Because
actually,
we all
I would like to, as we're ending, I want to bring up this is animated by Doga Kobo. If you're not familiar with who they are, you might be familiar with some of their works. They've done a lot of different comedies, a lot of romantic comedies. Something some people might be familiar with would be The Helpful Fox Senko-san. That's something that they
Heard of
did in
it,
the past.
but
That was
never watched it.
2019. And I think more recently that I think a lot of people might be more familiar with is Shikamori's Not Just a Cutie. I would be
It's a very
curious.
popular anime.
Yeah, have either of you watched it? Because I have not.
no.
There was a promo on Bookwalker for a free Shikimori book, and I downloaded it. And by the time I was like, okay, I was hospitalized and I had time to read, and I was like, maybe I'll read it. And then they're like, no, you're there's an expiration date on this. You can't read this anymore. And I'm like,
Wow.
thanks.
So I would be curious to see the, and I might have to go watch it now, I guess. And I've definitely been recommended Shikamori, but I'd be curious to see how it compares, right? As they're both romantic comedies, and I'd be curious to see how, like, the changes from 2014 to 2022, for that matter, as far as they go as an animation studio. But otherwise, I'm not too familiar with a lot of their other works, but I do know of some. But yeah, I just wanted to mention the animation studio at least and give them a shout out because they have done quite a lot of
They
work,
did a
and they
good
are,
job.
yeah, they've, there's a lot of stuff that they have put out that has been well regarded.
Mm, mm, mm.
Fair enough. Anything else?
Oh wait, it's not expired yet. I can still read Shikimori. It's just not a cutie. Anyway,
Okay. Okay, then you do that and let me know if it's good or not.
All right. Well, what was the question again? Sorry, I got
Hey,
distracted.
You know,
It's,
if
it's
just
up to you.
if
It's up
there's
to you.
anything
Know
else you
me.
want to say about Nozaki-kun
mhm.
before we close.
Oh, I wish. I mean, I wish there was a second season,
Hmm.
but then again, like if there was a second season and then and they don't continue to the third season, I'd be pissed. And then it's like I'm happy with with the way season one ended, but I'm not gonna be upset if they don't if they decided to continue.
Agreed.
Hmm. Yeah, basically the same. So I guess that's all for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you enjoyed it. What are your thoughts about Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun? You can tell us all about that in the comment section below, on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team, and on our Twitter, which we may cancel considering how things go, which is Berkcast with a
That
capital
won't be
B,
our
capital C.
choice.
Uh,
Steph, where can people find you on the internet?
right. So as I mentioned, I'm actually a comic artist. I'm also like an illustrator, but I also have a day job, but you can find my work at stephanisojono.com. That's StephaniSoejono.com.
If you
Same
want, you can link.
user,
You can send us the link, and we'll provide it in the description.
same Tumblr username. Um, what else? Um,
You have an Instagram if you want to show that.
I do. Uh, yes, yes, I do have an
Okay.
Instagram, but I'd rather not link it because right now it's just photos of my vacation because I haven't been able to update it in a very long time.
Fair enough. So, like the links you want, will provide in the description for
Oh
Hmm.
people who
no,
can
they
follow you,
now
and they should. Just saying, not just because she's my girlfriend. You should just follow her in general.
Mhm.
So until next time, I was HC,
I was Wolf.
I'm Stephanie. Um,
and we will see
love
you
you.
all next time. Take care. Next time is going to be
Later.
something indeed.
Bye bye.
Bye.